This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone. In the previous segment, we looked into the different requirement elicitation techniques that can be used by the business analyst. And I had mentioned that prototyping is something which we will cover as a separate video. Okay, so here in this video, we'll try to do that. The reason being, it's as I mentioned earlier, also, it's quite interesting and very useful, and also needs a little more explanation. Okay, first of all, what is a prototyping technique? So it is nothing but creating a prototype, which is like a miniature or a pilot version of something, and showcasing it to the customer, getting the customer's feedback, and then acting on it, refining your prototype to uh, factor in all the feedback that has been received, and then provide another version of the prototype to the stakeholders, get another set of feedback, revise it again. This happens to and fro, and finally you come up with something which will really be meeting all the stakeholders' requirements, and that prototype will then be used to create the actual software. Okay, and again, it looks like again a big jargon, like, okay, what is this prototype that is created? How does it look like and all? So let's talk about it from a user interface perspective. Okay, now let's take the same food delivery app. Okay, user interface is nothing but a screen which the customer interacts with. Okay, so it could be a dashboard, or even if you look at your calculator. Okay, a physical calculator that has a small screen, right? A rectangle bar screen which is there where you can see the numerals. Even that can be referred to as a user interface, or your dashboard. When you drive your car, you can see the dashboard where it shows your speedometer, your fuel level, your number of kilometers traveled, all that. That is a dashboard. Even that can be a user interface. It need not always be a website or a portal or a mobile app. Any screen, when you go to a McDonald's restaurant, you have a kiosk, a screen wherein you can make the selection of the food items and then place order. Even that is a user interface. So whenever we talk of any such user interface to be designed and developed for a particular app, for a particular project, then uh, so do you think that, okay, the entire screen is fully developed and then you take it to to the stakeholders and get a feedback from them? No, it does not work that way. The reason being, let's take the food delivery app. I have taken the requirements from the stakeholders that login should have these three options: username, password, login through Google, login through Facebook, and submit button, and that's it. This is the information that I have received. Based on this, if I talk to my designers and get a complete login screen designed and then take it to the stakeholders, they'll come with so many critical viewpoints. They might say the look and feel is not good. They might say the font is too big. They might say the options are not clear enough. They might say, where is the logo of my company over here? Why is it over this side, not in this side? So do you mean to say the UI UX guy will again make all these changes and then give a second version? It is too much of rework, right? So that is not how it should work. So a better approach will be that you create a basic skeleton of that screen first. Okay, create a basic skeleton of it and take feedback on that from the uh, stakeholders. Something like a blueprint. You create a blueprint, you take a feedback, you make minor tweaks here and there, replacing this with that and all those things you do, then get another feedback, then do other, that minimal changes making and reworking on it is much more easier than making a lot of changes on the final screen, right? So that is where your prototype comes into picture. And in this particular scenario, what you create is referred to as wireframe. Don't worry, I'll show you the wireframe, how it looks like and all. For now, first understand the concepts and then we'll get into the practical part of it. Okay. In fact, I will create a sample login page wireframe and I'll show it to you in this video itself. Okay. So you create a wireframe, you showcase it to the stakeholders, get the feedback, maybe third or fourth or seventh version of it gets finalized. Now you create a sort of a mock-up diagram, and then again, maybe minimal feedbacks will be there received at this point of time, and it'll be so it avoids a lot of rework which would have happened on the mock-up. After the mock-up has been finalized, then you create the final prototype of the screen. Okay. Now let me show you with an example. Now all of us know how YouTube works, right? So when was YouTube started? Somewhere around 2004, 2005, I think. So at that point of time, even before the YouTube was created, obviously there would have been a team which worked on finalizing how each screen should look like, where the video should be available, where the list of recommendations should be available, where should you show the likes, dislikes, and comments and all those things, right? So that discussion would have happened, and then a wireframe would have got created, and that would have undergone multiple iterations, right? So now let's look at one sample of such thing. So this is a sample YouTube wireframe. So here you see, you don't see any colors and all. You don't see this is not the actual font which is there, and it is not having a sample video screenshot here. Nothing. This is a typical wireframe. This is how it looks like. In fact, the typical wireframe will not even have this red color and all. It'll be pure black and white. And sometimes you can include some hyperlinks here and there, but just to give you an idea, it'll be as simple as possible to give an idea like, okay, this is how I visualize it as a business analyst, or I, along with my UI UX team, this is what we have created. Is it matching your, business requirements or not? If not, tell us what needs to be changed. So now let's say that the business analyst and the UX team, which would have worked on this, would have created something like this and would have taken it to the YouTube founder, saying that okay, this is something which will really look very appealing. What do you say? We place the video here, we place a list of recommendations here, we show the number of views here, and then like dislike and options over here, and then the comments here. Maybe the founders might say, no, no, you know what? I feel that this embed option is not required. Why do we need embed option? I don't want, remove it. And what is this flag option? I don't want, remove it. And dislikes, dislike, can you remove it here and place it somewhere here? And this show more, why should you have such a big button? Just show it as a hyperlink. This sort of comments would have got shared, and then there would have been another mock-up created, and that would have accepted all of those things. And maybe they might have said change this and keep it here, and things like that. So here they might say, why should I have likes numbers here, dislikes numbers here? Why can't I keep it over here itself? All these sort of feedback would be received on the wireframe. After the wireframe is totally finalized, then you can create something called as a mockup. And once that mockup is finalized, then you can create a prototype. Okay, this is an example. Now let me take you to another example of a travel website. Now let's say something like a TripAdvisor. Okay. Now this is a mockup of this is a wireframe of how a screen should look like. So in this mockup, this something like this is created, and it is told like, okay, you can have a logo here, you can have search options here, the name of city and hotel here, date here, the image, book option, and the three options of my profile, booking, and search hotel options and all. It works like this. This can be a wireframe created. If any suggestions are made and all, you can quickly tweak those things and drag drop all these things here and there and all. You can do that in this. And once the assume that this is the final wireframe which has been confirmed by stakeholders that yes, this really looks good. Now I want to see a mock-up of it. Then what you do is you use this and show a mock-up. So you say, okay, based on your suggestions, we have created a mockup and this is how it looks like. This is your logo, this is the city and hotel selection option, this is the date selection option. This will have the images, this will have the actual price and discounted price, book option, and three options over here. Now let's say that there could be some feedback on this also. Maybe, this button, can you make it smaller? This font, it is not really clear. Can you make it a little bit more trendy? Something like that. Such sort of suggestions on mockups are again taken, implemented, and let's say it is assume that it is all done. And let's say this is the final mockup. Now comes the time to have a prototype in place. And this is how a prototype would look like. So the difference between mockup and prototype is mockup is a static screenshot, and it need not be black and white. It could be colored screen also. But mockup is more like a static. Like what do you mean by static is if the stakeholders try to click on the city, hotel, or date and all, nothing happens. It is just to show that this is how it looks. Whereas prototype gives that option. Here the stakeholder can play with it, can actually click on this and see how it works. Maybe if there's a menu button somewhere, you click on that hamburger menu, get all the options. You click on book and get a confirmation pop up over here. All that things will be possible in a prototype. So this is like you're increasing the complexity, meanwhile reducing the amount of rework that would be required to the point of reaching this final screen. This is all about your prototype. Okay. And as I said, this is a user interface related prototype. There could be some actual demoable prototype of another application created. That's a different story altogether. But the purpose is the same. Purpose is that you start with something very basic, get feedback and create multiple iterations of it, then take it to the next version and then take it to the advanced version so that you can ensure that all the business requirements are properly catered to. Okay. Now I have also told you that I've also mentioned that I will create a sample screen and show it to you, right? So let me do that also. Okay. So let me. So this is something called as draw.io. This is one of the many options of creating wireframes. The reason why I have selected this is pretty simple because it's a free tool to use. Okay, if there's any other free tool, you're always it's always okay to go for it. Okay, and there are also a lot many tools out there which can be used to create wireframes and all. But the suggestion is that if you know any one tool to use it properly, then you can more or less understand any other tool also because the options and all will be more or less the same. It's only about making it much more customer friendly app and things like that. That's it. Okay. Now, okay. Now let's create a login screen. This is a very basic screen that I'm creating. I am not saying that this is how the best of login screens would look like. This is just to give you an idea within a short span of time, like how a wireframe can be created. Okay. And I'm talking about login screen on a mobile app. So this is the dimensions that I've taken on the screen. If I say a website or something, you can take something bigger like this and all. Okay. So let's make it small again. So let's say this is my typical screen size of a mobile app. And I'll say that I want to have a logo here. Okay. So I'll just reduce this a little bit like this and let me keep it something like this. No, it doesn't look good. Okay. Just random, don't take it as the final version. Now this is the logo and I'll say that okay, I want to, this is a login screen, right? So I want to have the basic name. Okay. And copy paste and put it here and then say password. Okay, let me just align this a little bit. And now let me put some boxes where the customer can add the name and password. And now let me add a submit button. Pretty basic, simple mock-up screen to just give you an idea like how you can create one. Okay, that's it. Now I take it forward to the team, and then they'll say that, okay, this is fine, but you need to add few more login options. Or they may say that, okay, this is fine, but apart from this login button, can we mention this as submit, or can we say it as proceed? All that sort of feedback can be taken. I'll make those changes, and then I'll have another iteration of it. And then once it is confirmed, then I'll have a mockup created. Of course, again here, as a BA, you might be involved in creating wireframes, but when it comes to creating mockup screens and prototypes, it would be mostly the responsibility of your design team, which will have the UI UX consultants. Okay, so they will take it up from here and they'll create the mockup screens and prototypes and share it with the client, and that's how the things happen. This is the basic screen. Now, in a food delivery app, you'll have lot many other screens. You'll have the search screen, you'll have the hamburger menu, how it should work. You'll have the payment screen, you'll have the order tracking screen, you'll have the user review screen, you'll have the food selection screen, you'll have the quantity selection screen, add into cart screen, order confirmation screen, order received screen, history of the orders delivered screen. You'll have so many screens out there. So this by now you should get an idea like, okay, developing a mobile app is not something which can happen in a week or 2 weeks. It is something which does take a lot of time because a lot of efforts go behind it. Okay, so this was what I wanted to discuss about the uh, prototyping option. And as I said, Dot.io is just one of the many options. You can use any other tool out there. There are too many tools out there. There's something called as Lucidchart, there's something called as Adobe XD, Pencil, Sketch, Figma, InVision, uh, maybe a lot many other tools are out there. Okay, you can search for it, you can see whichever works best, and you can try creating some wireframes for some websites. Take anything, take any website that you know very well, and think about that. If you have to create a wireframe, how would you create? Maybe you have the final screen with you, and then start creating a wireframe for it. Maybe you have this screen, create a wireframe for this, and see how you are able to do it. How comfortable are you creating a wireframe? Because that helps you later in your work, real work as a IT business analyst. Okay, so we'll stop this segment here. We are done with the understanding of the business analysis, the elicitation techniques, and workshops and prototypes are the most commonly used techniques. So spend more time on learning more things about it. Maybe you can check out on YouTube, or you can find out some other videos online and all. Okay. Next, we'll try to look into the requirements prioritization techniques. Okay, so we'll stop this video here. Thanks everyone.